Welcome, dear traveler. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome to this quiet corner where forgotten history lingers. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you listening from tonight, and what time is it there? Feel free to leave a comment. It's always a comfort to see where our fellow night wanderers gather. And if you enjoy these soft, shadowed journeys through time, consider subscribing, so you'll never miss the next one. Now, let's begin. The monastery stands in silence. Its high stone walls hold the cold close, each block damp with the breath of centuries. Outside, the air is thick with fog, rolling low across the fields, wrapping the ancient arches in a shroud of gray. The great wooden doors remain shut. Only the bell's slow toll breaks the hush. Life inside is not one of comfort. It is a cycle of prayer, labor, and silence, endless as the fog that seeps through every crack. For the monks, the day begins before dawn. A single bell sounds, long and hollow. Bare feet touch frozen floors. Robes are drawn tight against the chill. They move in silence through narrow corridors, the air heavy with smoke and damp. The chapel waits, dim, unheated, the scent of old wax clinging to every surface. The chants rise slow, unhurried. Voices blend beneath the stone vaults. Breath clouds the air in soft puffs. Outside, the first light of morning struggles against the mist. For scribes, the scriptorium stirs. Ink is thickened by cold, quills scraped against rough blades. Parchment is laid bare beneath trembling fingers. Hour after hour, letters are traced in cramped script. A day's labor may yield but a single page. The air here is thin and dry, lips cracked, eyes strained by the flicker of oil lamps. For peasants, beyond the cloisters, work waits. Wood to split, stone to scrub, grain to grind beneath heavy wheels. The kitchen fires are slow to catch, smoke hanging low beneath the beams. The day's meal will be thin, root stew, coarse bread, perhaps a sliver of fish if fortune smiles. For women, in the infirmary a sister tends to the sick. A child lies fevered beneath a rough blanket. Herbs steep in cracked pots nearby, their bitter scent mixing with vinegar. Candles gutter against the draught that creeps beneath the door. For merchants, trade is scarce here. Coins matter little beyond the outer wall. Yet still, a lone figure waits beneath the arch, goods in hand, salt, cloth, iron nails. A brother marks the ledger, his quill scratching softly against the silence. And as the day creeps forward, the fog holds close. Time folds upon itself beneath the weight of stone and ritual, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Morning moves slowly within the monastery walls. The light outside is pale, thin as paper, struggling to reach across the cold gray sky. Inside, time feels heavier, measured not by sun, but by the deep and steady rhythm of the bell. Another day begins. Not with bustle, not with haste, but with the same slow flow of ritual and labor that marks each passing hour in this place. For the monks, the morning prayers have ended. Now they move with quiet purpose through long stone corridors. Sandaled feet brush against cold flagstones. Their voices remain silent, save for the whispered greetings exchanged beneath arched doorways. In the refectory, a simple meal awaits, a thin pottage of roots and barley, coarse bread, dark at the edges, weak ale, poured carefully into wooden cups. There is no indulgence here, only what is needed to sustain the body through another day of work and worship. For scribes, the scriptorium fills once more with the faint scratch of quills. Each monk takes his place at the long wooden desks, worn smooth by generations before him. Ink is prepared with care, mixed with soot and water, its surface shimmering faintly in the cold air. Parchment lies beneath steady hands, each sheet weighted with small stones to hold its edges flat. Letters take shape slowly, each stroke deliberate. There is no room for error. A single mistake can mean hours of scraping and correction, or worse, beginning anew. Time slips away unnoticed here. The outside world is forgotten. Only the page, the ink, and the slow movement of the quill remain. For peasants, the lay brothers work beyond the cloister. Their tasks are endless, stacking wood beneath the eaves, repairing crumbling mortar, drawing water from deep stone wells. Fingers grow numb beneath rough woolen gloves. Breath clouds the air in pale bursts. In the garden, frost still clings to the bare branches of twisted trees. The earth lies hard and unyielding, but work must continue. Even now, herbs are gathered carefully, bundled tight to dry through the lean months ahead. For women, in the quiet of the infirmary, the sisters tend to their charges. A young woman lies pale upon a narrow cot, her hands folded atop a faded blanket. The air is thick with the scent of dried lavender and vinegar. A sister prepares a draught of bitter herbs, her movements slow and practiced. The work here offers no rest. There are always more in need: a cough in the night, a fever that will not break, a wound that refuses to heal. And so the sisters labor on, their prayers whispered between tasks. For merchants, at the outer gate, a lone figure arrives. His cart holds sacks of salt, coarse linen, a few iron tools. Trade is rare here, but necessary. The monastery relies upon these quiet exchanges to endure. A lay brother meets him beneath the arch. Words are few, gestures enough. A ledger is marked, goods exchanged. There is no gold here. Payment comes in kind or in promise of future favor. For soldiers, the world beyond the monastery walls remains uncertain. Rumors drift in with each passing traveler, raids along distant borders, unrest in nearby towns. A lone guard watches from the tower above the gate. His gaze moves slowly across the misty fields beyond. The iron bell rope hangs ready beside him. A single pull would summon the brothers to arms, should danger draw near. For pilgrims, the guest house stirs with quiet life. A small group of travelers prepares to depart, their belongings packed with care. A sister offers them a simple meal: bread, cheese, a flask of thin ale. A blessing is given, soft words of farewell exchanged. Their path ahead will be long and uncertain, but for now, within these walls, they have known shelter and a moment's peace. And as the bell tolls once more, the hours shift, the rhythm continues. Life within the monastery flows on, steady, unchanging. And across the cold beams, shadows gathered in silence. Midday settles over the monastery. The fog outside holds fast, thick and unmoving. No warmth reaches through the clouds. No bird calls from the bare trees beyond the wall. Only the slow toll of the bell marks the passing of the hour. Within the stone corridors, life moves at its own pace. No one rushes. No one hurries. Each step is measured. Each breath lingers in the cold, damp air. For the monks, the midday meal offers brief pause. The refectory fills with quiet figures. No voices rise, only the scrape of wooden benches, the soft rustle of robes. The meal is sparse, a thin broth of roots, dark bread, a cup of ale. As they eat, a brother reads aloud from ancient text, his voice steady, low, carrying words older than any among them. No one looks up. The rhythm is known. The words flow on. For scribes, the scriptorium does not rest. While others take their meal, a few remain behind. Pages must be completed. The demands of the rule do not bend for hunger. A lone figure leans close to the parchment. The ink is cold now, slow to flow from the quill. Each letter is a small act of devotion, of patience. Mistakes are costly. A single blot means hours of scraping and repair. Outside the high window, the fog curls against the glass. Time fades away within these walls. For peasants, the lay brothers labor through the chill. In the storerooms, sacks of grain are counted and weighed. Root vegetables are sorted for rot. Salted fish checked for spoilage. Each task is done with care. Supplies must last through the harshest months. In the outer courtyard, wood is stacked beneath the eaves. The pile grows slowly, each log placed with aching fingers. The work is never done. The cold seeps deep into the stone and deeper still into the bone. For women, in the infirmary, the air is thick with herbs and smoke. A sister tends to an elder monk, his breath shallow beneath a woolen blanket. She murmurs a prayer as she works, voice soft as the falling ash. Nearby, a young novice assists. Her hands tremble slightly as she prepares a tincture. The sister guides her gently, patience in every motion. These skills must be learned, and there is no end to their need. For merchants. At the gate, another visitor arrives. A small cart drawn by a weary mule. Bundles of linen, jars of honey, coarse woolen cloth. A lay brother inspects each item carefully. The trade is quiet, deliberate, words exchanged in low tones. A new mark in the ledger, goods carried within. The merchant departs with no fanfare, wheels creaking softly over the frozen ground. For soldiers, the watch continues. From the tower above the gate, a brother stands wrapped in heavy cloak. His eyes scan the pale horizon. There is little to see, no movement among the fields, no travelers on the road. Still, he watches. The bell rope remains ready by his side, a silent sentinel against unseen threats. In this place, vigilance is its own form of devotion. For pilgrims, in the guest house, weary travelers rest. A small group huddled near the hearth, hands outstretched toward the faint warmth. A sister moves among them, offering simple comfort. A cup of broth, a folded blanket. They speak little. The road behind them was long, the road ahead longer still. But here, within these stone walls, for a few hours more, they are safe. And as the fog deepens, the bell tolls again, its sound rolling slow and heavy through the cloister. Footsteps echo faintly in the distance. A door closes. The day turns onward, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Afternoon settles heavy upon the monastery. The gray light outside barely shifts. Hours pass, yet it seems as though the sun never rose. The fog remains, pressed close against the cold stone. Inside, the rhythm of the day continues. The bell marks each moment, calling the brothers onward through the familiar cycle of prayer and labor. For the monks, the afternoon office draws them once again to the chapel. Feet move slow across worn flagstones. Robes brush softly against the ancient walls. The chant begins, voices rising low beneath the high arches. Breath forms faint clouds in the air. There is no haste, no urgency. Each note held long, each word spoken with care. In this place, the world outside fades. Only the voice of the rule remains. For scribes, the scriptorium hums with quiet effort. Candles burn low now, their flames flickering as unseen drafts pass through the long hall. Ink thickens in its pots. Fingers ache from hours of steady work. Still, the quills do not stop. Each page must be completed, each word copied with precision. Mistakes bring shame, and the burden of correction. In the corners of the room, shadows lengthen as the afternoon wears on. For peasants, the outer yard is a place of constant motion. Wood is split and stacked, tools repaired with careful hands, buckets of water drawn from the deep well. The cold bites harder now, skin cracks beneath rough wool. Yet the work continues. Supplies must be gathered, repairs made before the deeper winter comes. There is no rest for the lay brothers. The rule gives them purpose, but little comfort. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters move from bed to bed. An old man shivers beneath thin blankets. A young novice tends a wound, her hands steady despite the cold. Nearby, herbs are crushed into powder mixed with honey and vinegar. The work is quiet, unending, each patient watched with care, each breath counted. Above the beds, the candles gutter low. The scent of lavender and old wax fills the narrow room. For merchants, at the outer gate, another exchange takes place. This time, a small cask of oil, a bundle of rough wool, a crate of dried apples. The lay brother records each item in the ledger. A small nod, a brief word. No coin changes hands here, only goods. The merchant bows once, draws his cloak tighter, and disappears once more into the fog beyond the wall. For soldiers, from the tower, the watchman keeps his post. The road remains empty. No sound comes from the fields, only the faint sigh of wind through the bare trees. Still, his gaze does not waver. The bell rope hangs ready by his side. In these uncertain times, vigilance is its own form of prayer. And so the soldier waits, hour after hour, alone in the cold, for pilgrims. The guest house offers brief refuge. A pair of travelers sits close by the hearth, sharing a simple meal of bread and cheese. Their clothes are worn, their faces lined with fatigue. A sister brings a pitcher of warm ale, a folded cloth for the road ahead. There are few words spoken, only nods of thanks. Soon they will move on, but for this moment they rest, and as the bell tolls once more, the afternoon fades into shadow. The fog thickens still, pressing close against the ancient stone. Footsteps echo faintly in the distance. Another hour begins, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. Evening draws near in the monastery. The light outside grows dim, sinking slowly into the thickening fog. What little warmth the day offered has faded. Now the cold returns, creeping through the stone, settling into the marrow of the place. The bell tolls again, its deep voice carrying through the cloister. Another hour marked, another step along the unchanging path of the day. For the monks, the brothers gather once more in the chapel. The air is colder now. Breath drifts in faint clouds above bowed heads. Robes hang heavy with damp. The chant begins, slower than before. Voices low, steady, rising to meet the gathering dark. There is no hurry. Time moves differently here. Each note held long, each pause filled with silence. For scribes, the scriptorium remains lit by flickering candlelight. Shadows gather in the corners. The smell of hot wax and old parchment fills the room. Ink grows sluggish in its pot. Fingers stiffen with cold. Yet still the quills move, tracing letter after letter upon the pale vellum. Pages are laid out with care, each one a small act of endurance. The work is not for glory, not for reward. It is the rule, the duty of the scribe, to preserve, to copy, to continue, as those before them have done for centuries. For peasants, the outer yard is nearly empty now. Wood is stacked high beneath the eaves, tools cleaned and set aside, buckets drawn and stored. A few lay brothers linger near the well, breath rising in pale streams. They speak little. The day's work is done, but the cold remains. Their fingers ache. Their backs are sore. Yet tomorrow, it will all begin again. For women. In the infirmary, the sisters move softly through the dim light. Candles burn low upon the stone ledges. The air is thick with the scent of herbs and smoke. An old monk stirs beneath a thin blanket. A sister soothes him with a damp cloth, her hands practiced, gentle. Nearby, a young novice prepares fresh bandages, her brow furrowed in concentration. The work here never ends. Illness does not keep to the hours of the rule, and so they labor on, through the fading light, into the dark. For merchants, at the gate another small trade is made. A bundle of coarse cloth, a sack of dried peas, a pot of salted butter. The lay brother records each item in the ledger, a nod, a brief word. Then the merchant pulls his cloak tight and vanishes into the deepening fog beyond the wall. No gold passes hands here, no silver, only goods, and the quiet exchange of trust built over many winters. For soldiers, the watch above the gate grows colder. The brother on duty shifts beneath his heavy cloak, eyes scanning the gray fields beyond. No movement, no sound, only the slow drift of mist through the bare branches. Yet still he watches. The bell rope remains ready at his side. Here vigilance is a constant prayer, unspoken, unseen, for pilgrims. In the guest house the hearth burns low. A small group of travelers huddles close, their faces lined with fatigue. Bread and broth are shared, blankets are passed hand to hand. Words are few. The road behind them was long, the road ahead uncertain. But for this night they are sheltered. For this hour they rest. And as the great bell tolls once more, the monastery falls into deeper shadow. Lanterns are lit along the cloister. Doors are bolted. The cold presses close against the ancient stone. And in the hollow dark, the breath of stone grew stronger. Night has fully claimed the monastery. Beyond the high stone walls, the world is lost to fog and shadow. The moon, if it rises at all, remains hidden. No stars break the dense sky. Only the faint glow of lanterns along the cloister hints at life within. Inside, the air has grown colder still. Each breath feels sharp. Each step echoes louder against the worn stones. The day is ending, but the cycle of the rule continues. For the monks, the final prayers of the day draw them once more to the chapel. The great wooden doors creak upon their hinges. The brothers move in slow procession beneath the dark arches. The chant begins, lower now, slower. The words settle deep into the stone, woven into the fabric of the place. Candles flicker upon the altar. Their light trembles with each faint current of air. When the last note fades, silence returns. The monks bow once more. Robes whisper against the floor as they turn to their cells. For scribes, the scriptorium stands nearly empty now. A single brother remains, bent low over the page. His quill moves in steady rhythm, a soft scratch against the silence. The candle at his side burns low, its pool of light shrinking with each passing moment. Still he works. The page must be finished. The rule allows no excuse. Outside the high window, frost has gathered upon the glass. The world beyond is lost to the night. For peasants, the outer yard has fallen silent. The last tools have been stowed, the final logs stacked beneath the eaves. In the small side chapel, a few lay brothers kneel in quiet prayer. Their hands are raw from the day's work, their limbs heavy with fatigue. There will be little rest. Tomorrow the same labors await. But for now, the cold is held at bay by faith and habit. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters move carefully through the dark. Candles gutter upon the ledges, their flames bending low. A young boy stirs beneath a worn blanket. Fever grips him still. A sister wipes his brow with cool water, her voice a faint murmur. Beside her, another prepares fresh herbs for the long night ahead. The work here knows no hour. Suffering does not keep to the rule. For merchants, at the gate, the last trade of the day has been made. The iron bolts are drawn, the heavy doors secured. Within the counting room, the ledger is closed. Keys rest upon worn velvet. A single coin gleams faint beneath the dim lamp. The air here is thick with dust and old ink. The silence deepens with each passing minute. For soldiers, above the gate, the night watch begins anew. A brother stands alone upon the high platform, his cloak drawn tight, his eyes fixed upon the empty road beyond. The fog presses close. No sound reaches through it. Yet still he watches. The bell rope hangs ready at his side. Here, vigilance is both duty and prayer. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns low. A few weary travelers drift into uneasy sleep. Blankets pulled tight, faces turned toward the faint warmth of the fire. A sister moves softly among them, checking each with practiced care. A small loaf and a flask of ale are left upon the table, an offering for the early hours. The road beyond remains uncertain, but within these walls, for a little longer, they are safe. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery settles deeper into shadow. Doors are locked, lanterns dimmed. Only the faint rustle of robes and the whisper of stone remain. And beneath the nave, a forgotten light flickered alone. Night lies heavy upon the monastery. Beyond the walls, the world is still. The fog presses close, dense and unmoving. Even the trees stand silent beneath its weight. No sound drifts in from the fields. No light marks the distant road. Within, the monastery breathes slowly in the dark. The day has ended, but life here does not pause. The rhythm of the rule holds steady, even through the deep hours of the night. For the monks, their final prayers have been spoken. Now they move in silence through the long corridors, lanterns swinging gently in their hands. Shadows stretch across the cold stone. One by one they reach their cells. Wooden doors close with faint clicks. Within, a simple cot, a single candle, a rough woolen blanket. No comfort, no indulgence. Sleep here is a duty, not a pleasure. Rest is taken only to prepare the body for the next day's service. For scribes, the scriptorium stands dark, save for one lingering flame. A single brother remains at his desk. His quill moves slow now, the ink thick and sluggish. Each line traced with care, though his eyes grow heavy. The candle burns low. Its wax pools upon the worn wood. But still he works. The rule leaves little room for rest, and beneath his steady hand, another page of ancient text takes form. For peasants, the lay brothers lie upon their narrow cots, their hands rough and worn, their backs aching from the day's labor. The cold seeps through the thin walls. Breath rises in soft clouds in the dark. Some drift into uneasy sleep. Others lie awake, their minds turning over the tasks that await with the dawn. There is no true rest here, only brief escape from the unending cycle of work. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters keep their vigil. The air is close with the scent of herbs and tallow. The candles gutter low upon the ledges. A sister bends over a frail figure, her hand steady as she changes a bandage. Another grinds dried roots into powder, her mortar echoing softly in the silent room. The night brings no peace for them. Illness and injury care little for the hour, and so they move quietly through the dark, tending each soul in their care. For merchants, the counting room lies cold and empty. The ledger rests closed upon the desk. Keys lie still upon their velvet cloth. Beyond the locked gate, the road is lost to the fog. No traveler would come at this hour. Trade will wait for the morning light, if it comes at all through the gray skies. For soldiers, the brother on watch stands alone atop the gate. His breath drifts in faint clouds, his cloak drawn tight against the chill. No movement stirs the fields below. No sound breaks the thick silence. Yet still he watches. The bell rope waits beside him. Vigilance is its own form of prayer here, unseen, unbroken. For pilgrims, In the guest house, the hearth burns low. A few travelers stir in restless sleep. The journey weighs heavy upon them. The road ahead remains long, uncertain. A sister moves softly through the room. She checks the embers, adds a small log. She pauses beside each weary figure, her gaze lingering for a moment before moving on. In this place, even a brief moment of warmth is a gift. And as the bell tolls once more, the deep hours unfold. The monastery breathes slow in the dark. Footsteps fade along empty corridors. Shadows gather beneath the ancient arches. And through the unseen cracks, salt whispered faintly still. The deepest hours of night settle over the monastery. Outside the walls, the fog hangs thick and still. The world beyond seems to vanish. No road, no field, no star. The cold seeps deeper now, wrapping the ancient stones in silence. Within the monastery, all is hushed. The great wooden doors remain barred. Lanterns burn low. Time stretches, slow and heavy. Yet even now, life stirs in quiet corners. For the monks, their cells lie dark and spare. Most sleep, wrapped in coarse wool beneath thin blankets. Breath moves slow in the cold air. But a few rise early, their minds too restless for sleep. They kneel once more upon the hard stone floor, heads bowed in silent prayer. No bell summons them, no voice commands. This is devotion given freely in the solitude of night. For scribes, the last candle flickers in the scriptorium. A lone brother leans over his work, the page before him half complete. Ink pools thick upon the quill. The letters come slower now, each one shaped with weary care. The flame bends low, casting long shadows across the worn wood. He pauses, rubbing aching fingers. A breath escapes in the cold. Yet the quill moves again. For in this place the work of the scribe knows no end. For peasants, the lay brothers sleep fitfully in the dormitory. Their cots are narrow, their bedding thin. The cold gnaws through every layer. Some shift in their sleep, muscles sore from the day's labor. Others lie still, eyes half open, listening to the distant groan of the wind against the walls. The hours of rest are few. Soon the bell will sound once more, and the endless cycle will begin again. For women. In the infirmary, the vigil continues. A sister tends to an elderly monk, his breath shallow beneath the rough blanket. Beside him, a small oil lamp burns faintly, its light trembling with each draught. Another sister prepares a poultice by the hearth. The mortar grinds softly beneath her hands. Her movements are slow, deliberate, each task performed with quiet resolve. In this place, the line between life and death is thin, and so they work on, through the cold and the dark. For merchants, the counting room lies silent, ledger closed, keys still. The faint scent of old ink lingers in the air. Beyond the barred gate, the world is lost to fog. No trade comes in these hours, no visitor calls. Yet the brothers know, when the bell rings again with the dawn, another day of quiet commerce will begin anew. For soldiers, upon the high tower the watch continues. A lone brother stands beneath the open sky, cloak drawn tight, eyes fixed upon the gray beyond. No sound breaks the night. No shape stirs within the swirling mist. Yet still he watches, the iron bell rope ready at his side. Here vigilance is an unspoken vow, kept through long hours of cold and shadow. For pilgrims, in the guest house the embers glow faint upon the hearth. A few travelers shift beneath their blankets, their sleep shallow, uncertain. A sister moves softly among them, adjusting a cover here, refilling a small cup there. Her steps are light, her presence a quiet comfort in the dark. The road beyond remains hidden, but for now, within these walls, they are safe. and as the hours stretch on, the monastery holds its breath beneath the weight of stone and time. Lanterns gutter low, footsteps fade, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. Slowly the first hints of dawn approach the monastery. No sudden light, no warmth, only a faint lifting of the dark, a thinning of the dense fog pressed against the stone. The sky above remains a pale, formless gray. Within the walls, the long hours of night draw to their close. A new day waits, silent and cold, for the monks. The bell sounds low and slow, calling them from restless sleep. Feet touch the cold floor. Robes are gathered close against the chill. One by one they move through the dark corridors. Their footsteps echo faintly beneath the arches. No words are spoken, no glances exchanged. Only the slow procession to the chapel, as they have done each morning before. Here, time folds upon itself, a rhythm unchanged through the centuries. For scribes, the scriptorium stirs once more. The last brother who kept vigil through the night now rests. A new hand takes up the quill. Ink is warmed gently near the hearth, stirred with care. Parchment lies beneath steady fingers. Each line must be clear, each mark deliberate. The work begins again. No matter how many pages were completed before, each day brings more to be done. In this place, the written word is both labor and prayer. For peasants, the outer yard comes to life. Lay brothers rise from their narrow cots, shoulders stiff, hands sore. Outside, frost coats the wood piles. The ground is hard beneath their boots. Water must be drawn. Fires must be kindled. The day's labor stretches long ahead. They move through the tasks without haste, each step familiar, each chore known by heart. Here routine is the thread that binds the day. For women, in the infirmary the sisters greet the pale light with weary eyes. The sick remain. Their care does not end with the rising sun. A young novice brews fresh tea from dried leaves. Another checks bandages by the dim glow of a lantern. An elder sister pauses in quiet prayer beside a frail figure, her words soft in the cold air. Their work is not marked by the hours of the bell. It continues through all light, all dark. For merchants, at the gate the first visitors of the day begin to arrive. Their forms emerge slowly from the fog, shapes half seen against the gray. A cart laden with salted fish, a bundle of rough wool, a small chest of beeswax. The lay brother at the gate marks each item with careful eye. No words wasted, no motion hurried. Another entry in the ledger, another quiet transaction in the life of the monastery. For soldiers, the watch upon the tower remains constant. The brother stands with steady gaze, cloak drawn tight against the wind. Beyond the walls the fog shifts and swirls. No threat stirs within it, but still he watches. The bell rope waits beside him, silent and ready. Here the weight of vigilance rests not upon strength, but upon patience. For pilgrims, in the guest house the travelers begin to wake. Blankets are folded, bread is shared. The faint warmth of the hearth is savored one last time. A sister offers a blessing for the road ahead, her voice calm in the morning hush. They depart with slow steps, their figures soon lost to the lingering fog. For a brief moment, this place was their refuge. Now the journey continues, and as the first light filters through the mist, the monastery breathes once more. Lanterns are extinguished, doors unbarred. Another day begins beneath the ancient stones, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. The new day moves slowly through the monastery. Outside, the fog lingers, pressing low against the ancient walls. The sun remains hidden behind thick gray clouds. The cold stays close, in the stone, in the air, in every breath drawn beneath the heavy arches. Within, life resumes its slow, steady rhythm. The great bell tolls again, marking the passing of another hour. Here, each moment is measured, each task guided by the unchanging rule. For the monks, the morning prayers complete, they return to their duties, some to the library, some to the storerooms, some to the fields beyond the cloister. Their movements are quiet, no wasted words, no hurried steps. In this place, routine is both discipline and comfort. They know their tasks well, each one learned through years of service, and so they move through the chill corridors, robes brushing softly against cold stone. For scribes, the scriptorium fills with the faint sound of quills upon parchment. Each brother takes his place at the long wooden desks. Ink is prepared carefully, quills trimmed with practiced hands. The light is dim today. Candles are lit early, their flames dancing in the drafty hall. Shadows shift across the pages, but the work continues. Page by page, line by line, the words of the past preserved through endless hours of patient labor. Here, time flows differently, counted not in bells but in completed pages. For peasants, in the outer yard the lay brothers toil beneath the heavy sky. The cold bites deep, stiffening fingers and slowing limbs. Firewood must be gathered and split, stones cleared from the frozen paths, grain sorted and prepared for the coming weeks. Their breath clouds the air with each steady motion. There are no comforts here, no fire to warm their hands, only the work, familiar, unending. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters move quietly between the cots. New herbs are prepared, dried roots ground fine, leaves steeped in boiling water. An elder monk sleeps fitfully, his breath shallow. A sister tends to him with gentle hands. Nearby, a young novice replaces soiled linens, her face drawn with concentration. Their work demands patience, each action performed with care, each moment shaped by compassion and skill. For merchants, at the gate more goods arrive. A cart of coarse cloth, barrels of salt, bundles of dried herbs. The lay brother inspects each item, marks the entries in the worn ledger. There is no rush, no negotiation. Trade here is simple, necessity guiding every exchange. The merchant departs with a quiet nod, vanishing once more into the gray beyond. For soldiers, the watch atop the tower continues. The brother's gaze moves slowly across the fog-covered fields. No movement stirs beyond the wall. No sound breaks the cold air. Yet still he watches. Still he waits. The bell rope remains close at hand, a silent promise of vigilance kept through the long hours. For pilgrims, in the guest house a new group arrives, their faces weary, cloaks damp with mist. The road behind them long and hard. A sister welcomes them with a simple meal, bread, cheese, warm broth. Blankets are provided, a place by the hearth offered. For now they are safe within these ancient walls. For now they may rest. And as the day moves onward, the fog remains. The cold deepens. The bell tolls again. Another hour passes beneath the breath of stone, and through forgotten corridors soft footsteps echoed. Midday settles thick and slow over the monastery. The fog outside refuses to lift. Its weight presses close against the stones, turning each sound dull, each movement blurred. Even the toll of the great bell seems muted, as though wrapped in cloth. Inside, the air remains cold. The warmth of morning prayers has faded. Shadows creep along the corridors, but life within these ancient walls continues, bound to the quiet rhythm of the rule. For the monks, the midday meal draws them together once more. The refectory fills with silent figures. No voices rise above the scrape of wooden benches, the faint rustle of coarse robes. A brother reads aloud from sacred text, his voice slow and steady. The others listen in silence, hands folded, eyes downcast. The meal is sparse, a bowl of thin broth, a crust of dark bread, a small cup of ale. Simplicity here is not a choice, but a way of life. For scribes, the scriptorium remains a place apart. While others eat, a few brothers remain at their desks. Pages must be finished. Deadlines met. The light is poor. More candles are lit, their flickering glow barely enough to push back the gloom. Ink thickens in its pot. Fingers ache with cold. Yet the quills move on, patient, precise. Each line a quiet defiance of the slow march of time. For peasants, outside the cloister, the lay brothers labor beneath the weight of the fog. Axes bite into frozen wood. Stones are hauled from the frost-hardened ground. Water drawn from the deep well steams faintly in the chill air. Their breath comes in pale clouds, their hands chapped and sore. No task is new, each one learned through endless repetition. And though the body tires, the work does not cease. Here, effort is both necessity and devotion. For women, in the infirmary, the pace of the day remains steady. Patients are tended with quiet efficiency. Bandages changed, herbs prepared, prayers whispered between each task. A young novice stirs a pot of herbal tea, her movements careful, precise. An elder sister checks a fading wound, her touch gentle despite the chill. Compassion here is measured in small acts, a steady hand, a soft word, the gift of presence through long cold hours. For merchants, at the gate another cart arrives. The driver's face is drawn, his cloak heavy with damp. Goods are unloaded beneath the watchful gaze of the lay brother on duty. Sacks of barley, wheels of aged cheese, coils of rough hemp rope. Each item is inspected, weighed, recorded in the ledger. No coin passes hands, no bargaining echoes through the fog. The exchange is simple, quiet, a ritual as old as the stones themselves. For soldiers, the watch atop the tower continues. A lone figure stands wrapped in wool and leather, eyes scanning the pale horizon. No movement stirs beyond the wall. No threat emerges from the swirling gray. Yet still he watches. Still he waits. In this place, vigilance is its own form of worship. Each hour kept in silent devotion. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns low. New travelers arrive, their faces weary, boots caked with mud and frost. A sister greets them with a simple meal and warm words. Blankets are offered, a place by the fire prepared. Here, for a brief moment, they find rest. A pause in the long road ahead. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath its heavy cloak of fog. Footsteps fade into shadowed corridors. Candles burn low against the deepening chill. And beneath the nave a forgotten light flickered alone. Afternoon drifts slowly through the monastery. The sky remains gray and thick with fog. No light pierces the mist. The sun's position is guessed, not seen. The air presses close, heavy with cold. The stones beneath bare feet feel colder still. Within these walls, time seems to move differently. The hours fold into one another, bound by ritual and silence. For the monks, the next bell sounds through the cloister. Once more they gather in the chapel. Robes shift softly. Sandals scuff against the worn floor. The chant begins again. Voices rising slow and steady beneath the high arches. Their breath curls faint in the cold air. For them, the words are familiar, the rhythm comforting. Each note a thread in the tapestry of the day. For scribes, the scriptorium hums with quiet effort. Candles line the long desks, their flames trembling. Shadows gather between the rows. Quills move steadily across parchment. Ink pools thick and black upon each stroke. Mist creeps against the narrow windows, blurring the world beyond. Here, the outside holds no meaning. The work of the scribe lies in each letter formed, each page completed. A slow, steady devotion to words. For peasants, in the yard the lay brothers labor beneath the damp sky. Sacks of grain are carried to the storehouse, kindling gathered and stacked. Their breath comes in short clouds, their hands red and raw from cold. The rhythm of their work is unchanged, each movement practiced through long habit, each task performed with patient resolve. There are no easy days here, only the slow turning of duty. For women. In the infirmary, the sisters continue their careful watch. A young monk stirs restlessly in his cot. Fever flushes his pale skin. A sister cools his brow with a damp cloth. Another prepares a fresh poultice, her hand steady despite the chill. Nearby, a novice grinds dried herbs beneath a worn stone. The scent of lavender and sage fills the air. The hours pass unnoticed, for here each moment is shaped by care, each task by quiet compassion. For merchants. At the gate, a small group arrives. Their cart holds little: bundles of flax, a crate of beeswax candles, a worn chest of tools. The lay brother inspects each item with slow care, marks the ledger with steady hand. No words beyond what is needed, no rush. Trade here moves at the pace of the monastery itself, unhurried, deliberate. Another entry in a book worn smooth by time. For soldiers, the watch upon the tower continues without pause. The brother stands wrapped in wool and leather, eyes fixed upon the pale expanse beyond. No threat stirs in the mist, no sound breaks the chill air. Yet the vigil is kept without fail. For here duty holds steady through all hours, seen or unseen. For pilgrims. In the guest house, new travelers arrive from the unseen road, their faces drawn, cloaks heavy with damp. A sister greets them with calm words and simple fare: bread, broth, a place by the hearth. Blankets are laid out, a quiet corner prepared for rest. The road ahead remains uncertain, but for now, within these stone walls, they find shelter. And as the next bell sounds, the fog remains. The cold deepens. The monastery breathes in silence. Candles flicker low along shadowed corridors. Footsteps fade upon worn stone, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Late afternoon deepens within the monastery. Outside, the fog remains dense, unbroken. The sky above shows no color, no hint of sun. The air is heavy now, pressing cold against the stones, settling deep into every crack and crevice. Within the cloister, the rhythm of the day holds firm. The next toll of the great bell calls the brothers forward once more. For the monks, the familiar path leads them again to the chapel. Their movements are slow, steady. No voice rises above a whisper. The chant begins, low and measured. Words echo softly beneath the vaulted arches. Shadows gather in the high spaces above. Here repetition is its own form of prayer, each line spoken not in haste but with quiet reverence. For scribes, the scriptorium grows dim as the day wears on. Candles are replaced, their flames flickering in the chill air. Quills scratch faintly against parchment, the sound steady and patient. Each letter formed with care, each line a small act of devotion. Outside the narrow windows, the fog presses close. But here the world is held within words, ancient, enduring, silent. For peasants, in the yard the lay brothers labor through the cold. Bundles of wood are hauled to the kitchens, tools cleaned and returned to their places. Their movements are practiced, efficient. No task is rushed, no word spoken without need. The work is its own rhythm, simple, constant, without end. And as the light fades, their breath hangs in pale clouds upon the air. For women, in the infirmary the sisters continue their careful tending. An elder monk rests uneasily, his breath shallow beneath thin blankets. A sister prepares a fresh draught of herbs, her movements slow, deliberate. Another adjusts the small lamp by his side, its glow faint against the gathering dark. Here, time is measured not by bells, but by each small act of care, by each breath watched, each touch given in silence. For merchants, at the gate, the last trade of the day is made. A lone traveler arrives, his cart half hidden by the swirling fog. Bundles of cloth, a sack of dried berries, coarse iron nails. The lay brother inspects each item, marks the ledger with steady hand. No coin changes hands, only goods, only the quiet exchange of need. Then the traveler fades once more into the gray beyond. For soldiers. Upon the tower the watch continues. The brother stands wrapped in heavy cloak, eyes scanning the pale horizon. No threat stirs in the mist, no sound reaches through the thick air. Yet still he watches, still he waits. Here, vigilance is its own form of prayer, an unbroken thread through each long hour. For pilgrims. In the guest house the hearth burns low. A few travelers sit close by the fading warmth, their faces lined with fatigue. Bread is shared, broth sipped slowly, words few and soft. A sister moves among them with quiet presence, offering small comforts. For this night, they are safe within the ancient walls. For this moment, the road beyond is held at bay. And as the bell tolls once more, the fog deepens. The cold presses close. The monastery breathes beneath its cloak of stone. Footsteps fade along shadowed corridors. Candles flicker low against the gathering dark. And beneath worn velvet, the keys sang faintly once more. Evening gathers once more around the monastery. Outside, the fog thickens with the falling light. The sky above fades from gray to deep iron, though no stars appear. No moon breaks through the dense mist. The cold sharpens now. It settles deeper into the stone, creeping through the long corridors. Each breath drawn feels colder than the last. Yet within these walls, the day's rhythm continues. The great bell tolls again, a slow, deep note that calls all to their place. For the monks, evening prayers draw them once more to the chapel. They move in silence through the cloister, their forms pale against the darkened stone. The chant begins, low and steady, each word held long in the cold air. Candles burn upon the altar, their flames small against the gathering dark. For the brothers, this is the closing of the day, another cycle completed beneath the rule. For scribes, the scriptorium glows dim beneath the wavering light of many candles. The day's work nears its end, but a few brothers remain. Their quills move slowly now, each line traced with care. Fingers ache with cold, eyes strain against the flickering shadows. Yet the work must be finished. Each page completed in full, no corner cut, no mark rushed. Here, patience is the greatest skill of all. For peasants. In the yard, the final labors of the day unfold. Tools are cleaned and stored, the last wood carried to the kitchens. Breath hangs thick in the cold air. Hands move slower now, weary from the long hours. But the tasks must be done, no detail left for the next dawn. For in this place, discipline is shaped as much by duty as by devotion. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters prepare for the night ahead. A young monk coughs softly in his sleep. An elder stirs beneath his blankets. Herbs are brewed fresh over the small hearth. Bandages laid out with care. A sister moves from cot to cot, her hands practiced, her presence calm. Here the work does not end with the fall of light. Illness keeps its own time. For merchants, the gate stands closed now. But the day's trades are recorded, each entry marked in the worn ledger. Sacks of grain, rolls of cloth, Barrels of oil, all weighed and counted with slow precision. No coin has passed, only quiet exchange. The rhythm of trade in this place follows no clock, only need. For soldiers. Upon the tower the brother keeps his watch. The fog below is thick as wool. No shape stirs within it. Yet his gaze holds steady, his stance firm. The bell rope hangs close at hand, though no alarm is given. Here, vigilance is its own vow, kept through each long hour, each unseen threat. For pilgrims. In the guest house, the travelers gather close to the low hearth, their voices soft, their movements slow. A sister brings warm broth and simple bread, a folded blanket for each. Few words are spoken. The road behind them weighs heavy, but within these walls for a time they are safe. For a time the world outside is held at bay, and as the bell tolls once more, the monastery sinks deeper into shadow. Candles flicker low along empty corridors. Doors are drawn closed, and in the hollow dark, the breath of stone grew stronger. Night deepens across the monastery. Outside, the fog thickens further, wrapping the high walls in silent shroud. No sound stirs beyond the gates. No light touches the fields beyond. The world has drawn in upon itself, cold, still, unseen. Within, the monastery moves according to its own slow rhythm. Another bell tolls through the deep hours. Its voice rolls long and low across stone and shadow. For the monks, in their narrow cells, many lie in restless sleep. Others wake to whispered prayer, kneeling once more upon the cold floor. The rule holds even now, in the dark, in the silence, each moment bound to discipline, each breath shaped by devotion. For those awake, the night offers no respite, only another space in which to serve. For scribes, the scriptorium lies mostly dark now, yet in one small corner a lone candle still burns. A brother leans close over a half-finished page. The letters come slower now, each one formed with weary care. The ink thickens in the pot. The quill trembles in his hand. But the work must be completed. For here the page is not just labor, it is prayer given form. For peasants, the lay brothers sleep in the cold dormitory. Their cots are narrow, their blankets thin. Some shift beneath the rough cloth, seeking warmth. Others lie still, breath rising faint in the air. Their rest is brief. The bell will soon call them to new labors. And though their bodies ache, the day will begin again as always, beneath the same cold sky. For women, in the infirmary the sisters keep quiet vigil. Candles gutter low along the stone ledges. The scent of herbs and smoke hangs thick in the air. An elder sister sits beside a young monk's cot, her hands folded in patient watch. Nearby a novice stirs fresh herbs, the mortar soft beneath her careful hand. The hours pass unnoticed. Here, care is measured not in time, but in presence. For merchants, the counting room lies empty. Ledger closed, keys resting in quiet stillness. The gate is barred. No traveler will come now. Trade will wait for the gray light of dawn, if the fog allows it. For now, only silence remains within the stone. For soldiers, upon the high tower the watch continues unbroken. The brother stands alone, eyes fixed upon the unseen fields below. No movement stirs, no sound breaks the heavy air. Yet still he watches, still he waits. Vigilance is its own act of faith here, held steady through the long, cold hours. For pilgrims, in the guest house the fire has burned low. Travelers lie wrapped in rough blankets, faces drawn with fatigue. A sister moves softly among them, adding one last log to the fading hearth. A simple gesture, a brief warmth offered in the dark. The road ahead waits, but within these walls, for a little longer, they remain safe. And as the deep bell tolls once more, The monastery breathes slow beneath its weight of stone. Footsteps fade, candles gutter low, and beneath the nave, a forgotten light flickered alone. The monastery lies deep in the hollow of the night. Outside, the fog has thickened to a heavy pall. No sound reaches from the distant road. No shape moves in the fields beyond the walls. Only the faint breath of the wind stirs the bare branches, brittle beneath the weight of frost. Within, the monastery holds its slow, even rhythm. The great bell tolls again, long and low, another hour marked beneath stone and shadow. For the monks, many remain in restless sleep. Others wake to prayer, their voices low within narrow cells. The rule gives shape to each hour, even in the deep dark. For the devout, the night is no barrier to devotion. The breath of centuries fills each small space. For scribes, a single brother remains at his desk. The scriptorium is dark, but for one guttering candle. His quill moves slow across the parchment. Ink pools thick beneath each stroke. The letters come with effort now, the hand weary, the eyes heavy. Yet he continues. The page must be completed. In this place, the written word is its own form of prayer. For peasants, in the dormitory, the lay brothers sleep fitfully. Their bodies ache from the day's work. The cold seeps through thin blankets. Some shift in restless dreams. Others lie still, breath rising in pale clouds. Soon the bell will call them to new labors. And though the limbs protest, the work will begin anew beneath the same heavy sky. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters tend their quiet vigil. The scent of smoke and herbs hangs thick in the air. A sister wipes the brow of a fevered monk, her touch steady, her presence calm. Another stirs a pot of herbal draught upon the small hearth. Here, time holds no sway. Care moves at its own pace, slow, patient, unyielding. For merchants, the counting room lies cold and still. The ledger closed, the keys untouched. Beyond the gate, the road is empty. No traveler comes at this hour. No trade stirs beneath the cloak of fog. Only the quiet breath of the monastery remains. For soldiers, upon the tower the lone watch continues. The brother stands wrapped in wool and leather, eyes fixed upon the unseen fields. No sound reaches through the heavy mist. No shape stirs in the pale dark. Yet still he watches, the bell rope close at hand. Here, vigilance is a vow kept in silence. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns low. Travelers lie wrapped in worn blankets, their faces drawn with fatigue. A sister moves softly among them, tending the faint embers. She places a folded cloth upon a weary shoulder, adds a last log to the dying fire. For now, they rest. For now, the world beyond is held at bay. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes deep beneath its ancient stones. Footsteps fade, shadows deepen, and through the unseen cracks, salt whispered faintly still. A pale light begins to return to the monastery. Not dawn, not yet. Only a faint lifting of the deep night, a softening of the shadows against stone. Outside, the fog holds fast, dense as wool. No sound stirs beyond the high walls. No movement breaks the still air. Within, the monastery moves slowly into the new day. The first bell tolls through the cold, its voice low and deliberate. For the monks, the call brings them from their narrow cots. Bare feet touch frozen stone. Robes are drawn close against the chill. They move through dim corridors, shadows shifting along the worn floor. No voices rise, no words spoken. In the chapel, breath mists beneath the high arches. The chant begins again, each note slow and steady. Another day shaped by the rule. For scribes, the scriptorium stirs to life once more. Candles are lit, their flames trembling in the cold air. Ink is warmed, quills prepared. Parchment lies beneath practiced hands. The outside world holds no place here. The work of the scribe is its own world, silent, deliberate, enduring. Each line a thread in the long fabric of devotion for peasants. The lay brothers rise from their cots, their limbs heavy with sleep, their bodies sore from the day before. Yet the tasks await. Wood to be gathered, water drawn, paths cleared beneath the weight of frost. Breath clouds the morning air. Each step is familiar, each chore known by heart. In this place, labor is both necessity and offering. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters greet the pale light with weary eyes. Their vigil has not ended with the night. A young monk lies restless beneath thin blankets. A sister wipes his brow with steady hand. Another prepares fresh herbs over the small fire. Here, care moves with its own rhythm, not bound by the bell, but by need, by presence. For merchants, the first cart waits at the gate, its driver a vague shape within the swirling fog, bundles of wool, crates of dried fish, a sack of coarse flour. The lay brother inspects each item with slow care, marks the ledger with steady hand, no words beyond what is needed. Trade moves at the pace of the monastery, deliberate without haste. For soldiers, upon the tower the lone watch continues. The brother's gaze moves slowly across the unseen fields. No sound stirs, no shape moves within the mist. Yet still he watches, still he waits. Here, patience is its own form of devotion. The bell rope hangs close at hand. For pilgrims, in the guest house the travelers stir beneath rough blankets. The hearth has burned low. The chill of the morning seeps through the stone. A sister moves among them, bringing simple fare, bread, broth, warm ale. She offers a quiet blessing for the road ahead. Soon they will leave these walls, but for now they are held within them, safe, if only for a little longer. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes into the new day. Footsteps move soft through shadowed halls. Lanterns burn low against the lingering dark, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. Morning has taken hold of the monastery. Yet beyond its high stone walls, the fog still clings to the earth. A pale, cold light filters through the thick air, revealing little. No sky is seen. No sun breaks through the gray. Within, the rhythm of life continues, unchanged, deliberate. Another toll of the great bell echoes through the halls. For the monks, their voices rise once more in the chapel, the chant steady, shaped by long habit, each note held in the cold air beneath the vaulted ceiling. They stand close, breath misting softly. Here the outside world fades. Only the rule remains, a steady current through each hour. For scribes, the scriptorium hums with quiet life. Candles burn low. Ink is prepared again with care. Parchment waits beneath steady hands. The quills move slowly now. No haste, no wasted motion. Outside the narrow windows, the world is lost to the fog. But within, words take shape, letter by letter, line by line. For the scribes, this is not mere labor. It is the shaping of memory, slow, unending, for peasants. In the yard, the lay brothers work beneath the pale light. Wood is split and stacked, barrels checked and sealed. Their breath clouds the cold air. Their hands move with practiced rhythm. The tasks are many, the hours long. Yet the work is met without complaint. For in this place, each effort is an offering. For women, in the infirmary, the pace of care remains steady. A young monk stirs beneath rough blankets. A sister soothes him with gentle hand, her voice a faint murmur. Another prepares a poultice, the scent of herbs rising in the still air. Here the work holds no end. each moment shaped by quiet compassion, patient, deliberate. For merchants, at the gate a new cart arrives, its driver a shadowed figure within the swirling gray, bundles of linen, sacks of salt, small barrels of oil. The lay brother inspects each with slow care, marks the ledger with worn quill. No words beyond what is needed. Trade moves without haste, without flourish. Here, necessity speaks louder than coin. For soldiers. Upon the tower, the brother stands alone, his gaze steady upon the pale fields below. No sound stirs, no shape moves beyond the walls. Yet still he watches, the bell rope close at hand. Patience holds him fast, an unbroken thread through the long hours. For pilgrims. In the guest house, travelers prepare to depart. Cloaks are drawn close, packs secured. A sister brings simple fare, bread, cheese, warm ale. A quiet blessing is offered, words soft in the cold air. Soon they will return to the unseen road. But for now they are held within these walls, sheltered, if only for a little longer. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath the lingering fog. Footsteps move soft through the cloister. Lanterns flicker low against the cold stone, and in the hollow dark the breath of stone grew stronger. The monastery moves deeper into the day. Outside the fog remains thick and unyielding. Its heavy folds press close to the high walls, muffling sound, softening shape. The sun is a pale suggestion beyond the mist. No warmth, no clarity. Within, life follows its slow, steady course. Another bell tolls, long and measured, through stone and shadow. For the monks, they gather once more in the chapel, robes shifting softly in the cold air. The chant begins again, words shaped by centuries of practice. Each note lingers, drawn out beneath the high arches. There is comfort in this repetition. In a world of cold stone and fleeting days, the rule remains constant. For scribes, the scriptorium breathes with quiet purpose. Candles flicker along long wooden desks. Ink pools dark within worn pots. Quills move with careful precision, each letter shaped by steady hand. Outside, the world is lost to fog, but here, words endure, each page a thread in the long weave of memory. For peasants, in the yard, the lay brothers labor beneath the pale light. Firewood is gathered, barrels are rolled into cool stone storage. Their breath rises in slow clouds, their movements practiced, deliberate. The cold bites deep, but the work continues. No task left undone, no effort spared. For in this place, discipline is shaped by duty. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters move softly through the dim space. A young novice prepares fresh bandages, her hands steady despite the chill. An elder sister tends to a frail monk, her touch gentle beneath the rough cloth. Herbs simmer over the small hearth, the air rich with their scent. Here, time is shaped by care, each moment held in patience. For merchants, at the gate another cart arrives through the mist, its driver hunched beneath heavy cloak. Crates of apples, rolls of linen, sacks of coarse salt. The lay brother inspects each with careful eye, marks the worn ledger with practiced hand. No bargaining here, no haste. Trade moves slow as the monastery itself moves. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch continues. The brother stands wrapped in heavy cloak, eyes steady upon the pale fields below. No sound stirs, no shape moves beyond the walls. Yet still he watches, still he waits. Vigilance is a quiet vow here, an unbroken thread through each long hour. For pilgrims, in the guest house, new travelers arrive, their faces drawn, cloaks damp with mist. A sister greets them with simple fare, bread, broth, a place near the low hearth. Blankets are offered, quiet words of welcome shared. The road behind them was long, the road ahead uncertain. But within these walls, for a time, they are safe. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath the heavy fog. Footsteps fade through dim corridors. Candles gutter low in the deepening chill. And through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Afternoon leans into the cold heart of the monastery. Outside, the fog thickens once more. What little light had crept through the mist now fades. Shadows grow longer beneath the arches. The bell tolls again, slow, resonant, folding time upon itself. Another hour marked in stone. For the monks, they return to the chapel, their footsteps soft upon the worn floor. The chant begins again, low, measured, each word drawn slow, shaped by breath. Here no moment is rushed, no hour wasted. Each sound, each silence, a thread in the fabric of the rule. For scribes, in the scriptorium the light fades further. Candles are trimmed. Flames burn steady but low. Quills move with care. Ink thickens in the cold air. Each letter formed as if it matters more than the last. The outside world remains lost to fog, but the page remains clear, a space of purpose, of stillness. The work continues, quiet, unending. For peasants, in the yard the lay brothers labor on. Wood is stacked beneath stone eaves, grain sorted with patient hands. Breath clouds the air with each movement. Limbs ache beneath the weight of the cold, yet they move without pause, each task known, each motion shaped by long practice. In this place, labor is its own form of prayer. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters work in dimming light. Herbs are crushed and steeped, cloth cut and folded with care. A young monk stirs beneath thin blankets. A sister tends to him with practiced touch. Another watches in quiet vigil. Here, compassion moves without haste. Each moment held in presence, unspoken, steady. For merchants, at the gate, trade slows with the light. A final cart arrives, its driver worn, goods wrapped against the damp. Bundles of wool, jars of honey, coils of rope. Each inspected, each marked in the faded ledger. No coin exchanged, only quiet necessity. Another line in the long record of the monastery. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch holds steady. The brother stands alone, cloak drawn tight. The fields remain empty, the road silent, yet his gaze does not waver. Here, patience is a vow. Each hour watched, each shadow measured. For pilgrims, in the guest house new travelers settle, cloaks hung to dry, hands warmed near the hearth. A sister offers bread, broth, simple comfort. Words are few, faces drawn with fatigue. The road ahead waits, but for this night, within these walls, they are held in quiet refuge. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath its ancient stones. Footsteps fade through long corridors. Lanterns flicker low in the deepening gloom, and beneath the nave a forgotten light flickered alone. Evening presses close around the monastery. Outside the fog lies thick and unmoving. No hint of sun, no shift of sky, only a gray that deepens with each passing hour. Within the ancient walls life slows but does not stop. Another toll of the bell folds the day further into shadow. For the monks, their path returns again to the chapel. Robes brush softly against cold stone. The chant begins low beneath the arches. Voices blend slow and patient, each word held in the breath of centuries. Each note a measure of time shaped by devotion. For scribes, the scriptorium dims beneath the wavering light. Candles flicker. Shadows gather in long lines across worn desks. Yet the quills move still, ink drawn with careful hand. each letter shaped against the pull of fatigue, each line a small act of endurance. The work continues until the last light fades. For peasants, in the yard, the day's labor nears its end. Tools cleaned and returned to their place, wood stacked high beneath stone arches, water drawn one last time from the deep well. Their breath moves slow in the cold air, hands raw, bodies heavy. Yet each task is met without complaint. Discipline here is quiet, unspoken. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters prepare for the long night ahead. A frail monk rests uneasy beneath rough blankets. A sister tends to him with steady touch. Another prepares fresh herbs near the low fire. The scent of sage and lavender fills the air. Time here moves with the pace of care, not the bell. For merchants, at the gate, trade draws to its close, a final ledger marked beneath dim lantern light. Sacks of barley, bundles of flax, small casks of oil, each noted, each measured, no coin exchanged, only quiet necessity. Another day's record set in worn parchment. For soldiers, upon the tower the lone watch continues. The brother stands beneath heavy cloak, eyes on the pale beyond. No movement stirs the fog, no sound breaks the still air, yet vigilance holds him fast. The bell rope waits close at hand, silent, ready. For pilgrims, in the guest house, travelers gather near the hearth, cloaks hung to dry, hands warmed in flickering light. A sister brings bread and broth, blankets folded with care, words few, faces drawn with the weight of long roads. Here, for this night, they are sheltered, the world beyond held softly at bay. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery sinks deeper into shadow. Footsteps soften through long corridors. Candles gutter low against the cold stone, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. Night settles fully upon the monastery. Outside, the fog hangs thick and silent. No shape moves within it. No sound escapes it. The road beyond the gates is lost beneath its heavy folds. Within, the monastery breathes slow beneath its ancient stone. Another toll of the great bell stirs the air, deep, measured. For the monks, they move once more to the chapel, step soft along the darkened cloister. The chant rises low beneath the vaulted ceiling, each note steady, each breath deliberate. In this place, time is shaped by the voice of the rule, each moment a thread woven through long hours. For scribes, the scriptorium lies dim and still. Only a few brothers remain at their desks. Quills move slow in weary hands. Ink thickens in its pot, each letter traced with careful patience. The work does not pause for night or cold. In this place, the written word endures beyond fatigue. For peasants, in the dormitory, the lay brothers seek brief rest. Their cots narrow, blankets thin. Breath rises in faint clouds. Muscles ache beneath the weight of the day. Sleep comes slow. Soon the bell will sound again, another call to labor. In this place, rest is a rare mercy. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters keep quiet watch. A frail monk stirs beneath rough blankets. A sister soothes him with gentle hand. Another prepares herbs by the low fire. The scent of smoke and lavender fills the space. Here, care moves without pause. The bell does not mark its rhythm. For merchants, the counting room lies silent, ledger closed, keys resting upon worn velvet. No trade stirs beyond the gates. No traveler comes through the thickened fog. Yet tomorrow the record will open once more. In this place the rhythm of need moves slow, steady. For soldiers, upon the tower the lone watch holds fast. The brother wrapped in heavy cloak, eyes steady upon the unseen fields. No sound breaks the pale silence. No movement stirs beneath the fog. Yet still he watches, the bell rope close at hand, silent, waiting. For pilgrims. In the guest house the hearth burns low, travelers wrapped in rough blankets. A sister tends the fading embers, bread and broth left near weary hands. Few words spoken, the road ahead long, uncertain. But within these walls, for a little while, they are safe. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes slow within the deep night. Footsteps fade along stone corridors. Candles gutter low in the hollow dark. And through the unseen cracks, salt whispered faintly still. The deep hours of night unfold across the monastery. Outside, the fog has thickened into something near solid. No stars pierce the dark. No moon stirs behind the clouds. Beyond the gate, the world is lost to silence. Within, the monastery holds its slow breath. Another toll of the great bell moves through stone and shadow. For the monks, their cells lie dark and spare. Some sleep beneath thin blankets. Others kneel in whispered prayer. The rule moves through each hour. No pause, no end. Even in the deepest night, devotion holds. The cold bites through stone and cloth alike. Yet the breath of centuries moves through the narrow halls. For scribes, a single brother remains within the scriptorium. His candle burns low, its light bent and trembling. The quill moves slow now, each stroke deliberate. Ink pools heavy upon the worn page. Eyes ache, fingers stiffen. But the work continues, not for glory but for duty. Here, patience outweighs all else. For peasants, in the dormitory the lay brothers seek what rest they can. Breath clouds the cold air, limbs heavy from long labor. Sleep is shallow, dreams broken. Soon the next bell will call them back to the day. Their work knows no true end. Each hour bound to effort, each morning shaped by need. For women, in the infirmary the sisters keep their steady vigil. A frail monk breathes slow beneath worn blankets. A sister soothes his brow. Another stirs herbs within the low fire's light. Time here is a quiet flow, not counted in bells but in breaths. Each moment held in presence, each action a thread of care. For merchants, the counting room holds to silence. The ledger closed, keys resting in stillness. No trade moves beneath the cloistered sky. No cartwheels break the frozen earth. But the day will come again. In this place, patience is a quiet strength. For soldiers, upon the tower, the lone watch holds steady. The brother stands beneath thick cloak, gaze fixed upon the unseen fields. No sound breaks the frozen dark. No movement stirs beyond the gate, yet still he watches. The bell rope close at hand, silent, ready. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns low. Travelers wrapped close against the cold. A sister tends the fading embers, a blanket drawn close around weary shoulders. Few stir, few speak. The road waits beyond the walls. But here, beneath ancient stone, they rest, if only for a moment. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes deep within the hollow night. Footsteps fade beneath worn arches. Lanterns flicker low against the cold stone, and beneath the nave a forgotten light flickered alone. The final stretch of night holds firm across the monastery. Outside, the fog has settled dense as stone. No breeze stirs it. No sound breaks through. The world beyond the gate has vanished beneath its weight. Within, the air is heavy with silence. The next toll of the great bell rolls deep through the cloister. For the monks, their forms lie still within cold cells. Some wake for prayer, breath misting soft in the dark. The rule holds them steady through these hours. Even in the hollow dark, devotion guides the hand. No comfort here, only the slow, measured rhythm of discipline. For scribes, the last brother in the scriptorium closes his inkpot. The candle gutters low, shadows long upon the stone. Quills are set aside with careful hand, pages gathered, work left in readiness for the coming light. Eyes ache, fingers numb, but the labor is held with quiet pride, each letter placed with purpose. For peasants, in the dormitory rest comes in shallow waves, breath slow beneath thin cloth, limbs stiff from long toil, the cold a constant weight. Sleep here is brief. Soon the first bell will call them once more to the yard, another day shaped by labor. For women, in the infirmary the sisters keep to their watch. One by one the lamps are tended. A frail monk stirs beneath a coarse blanket. A sister soothes with gentle touch. Another stirs herbs within the low glow of the hearth. Here time is not counted in bells, only in moments of care given quietly through the deep hours. For merchants, the counting room holds to stillness, ledger closed, keys unmoved. No trade passes beneath the thick fog. No wheel turns upon the frozen earth. Yet the records remain, each line a thread through many winters. Patience here is a practiced art. For soldiers, upon the tower the lone brother holds his watch, eyes steady upon the unseen fields below. No sound stirs, no shape moves within the pale dark, yet still he waits, still he watches. Vigilance a silent vow beneath the deepening night. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns faint and low, travelers wrapped close in rough cloth. A sister adds one last log to the embers, steps soft upon the worn floor. Few stir, few speak, for now they are held within these ancient walls. Beyond, the road remains lost in the fog, and as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes slow beneath the weight of stone. Footsteps fade through the unseen halls, candles burn low against the heavy dark, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. The last hours of night gather across the monastery. Outside the fog has thickened once more. No breeze stirs its heavy folds, no distant sound carries beyond the gate. The world beyond remains lost beneath the pale dark. Within, the monastery holds to its rhythm. Another bell tolls through ancient stone. For the monks, their cells lie cloaked in shadow. Some wake for the final prayers of night. Others kneel within the dark, breath rising soft in the cold. The rule guides them still, each moment an offering, each breath held within the long thread of devotion. For scribes, the scriptorium lies silent now. Quills rest beside closed inkpots, parchments stacked with care upon worn desks. The last candle burns low, wax pooling thick upon the stone. Soon the light will rise again, the work will resume. But for now, the written word rests beneath the breath of the monastery. For peasants, in the dormitory, sleep thins toward waking, breath misting in the cold air, limbs heavy beneath coarse blankets, dreams broken by the chill. Soon the bell will sound again, another day of labor will begin. Yet for these few moments, rest lingers, a fragile thing held within the dark. For women, in the infirmary the sisters tend their quiet watch. A frail monk stirs beneath worn cloth. A sister soothes him with gentle hand. Another prepares fresh herbs near the low glow of the hearth. The scent of lavender and sage moves through the cold air. Here, time is marked not by bells, but by care. Each touch a thread of presence through the hollow hours. For merchants, the counting room remains untouched. Ledger closed, keys resting still. Beyond the gates, no cart moves through the deep fog. No wheel turns upon the frozen earth. Yet trade will come again. Patience here is shaped by long seasons. The record waits beneath the breath of stone. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch holds steady, the brother wrapped in heavy cloak, eyes steady upon the unseen fields below. No sound stirs, no movement breaks the pale dark. Yet still he watches, the bell rope close at hand, silent, waiting. In this place, vigilance is a quiet thread held through each long hour. For pilgrims, in the guest house, the hearth glows faint and low. Travelers rest beneath rough blankets. A sister tends the embers, steps soft upon worn stone. Bread left near weary hands, few stir, few speak. Beyond the walls the road remains lost, for now they are held within this place of stone and shadow. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes slow beneath the weight of night. Footsteps fade through unseen corridors. Lanterns gutter low in the deepening gloom, and beneath worn velvet, the keys sang faintly once more. The first pale threads of dawn begin to stir across the monastery. Outside, the fog remains thick. No sun breaks through the layered gray. No sound comes from the fields beyond. But within the ancient stone the slow rhythm holds. Another bell tolls, long and hollow, folding night into morning. For the monks, their cells open to the dim corridors. Bare feet meet cold stone once more. Robes drawn close, they move through the quiet cloister. Breath hangs faint in the air. In the chapel the chant begins again. Low voices steady beneath the vaulted ceiling. For them, this is the first breath of the new day, another cycle within the long weave of devotion. For scribes, the scriptorium wakes in the faint light, candles trimmed, ink prepared once more, parchment laid beneath steady hands, quills sharpened in ritual motion. Outside, the world is lost to fog, but here the page remains clear, each letter traced with care, each line a quiet act of endurance. For peasants, the dormitory stirs beneath the bell. Lay brothers rise from narrow cots. Breath clouds the cold air, limbs heavy from long labor. The day's work awaits, wood to gather, water to draw, stone to clear. Each task known, each motion shaped by repetition. In this place, duty is a rhythm as steady as the bell. For women, in the infirmary the sisters move through pale light. Herbs prepared, cloth folded with care. A frail monk rests beneath worn blankets. A sister tends him with steady hand. Another stirs fresh drafts over the low hearth. Here, time is measured not in hours, but in moments of care. Each breath held within the quiet presence of the sisters. For merchants, at the gate a shadowed figure waits, cartwheels hushed by frost and fog, sacks of grain, bundles of wool, small jars of oil. The lay brother inspects each with careful eye, ledger marked with slow hand, no haste, no flourish. Trade here moves beneath the weight of stone and season. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch continues unbroken. Eyes scan the unseen fields below. No movement stirs within the gray. No sound breaks the hush. Yet still the brother waits, the bell rope ready by his side. Vigilance a vow held without end. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth breathes faint and low. Travelers gather cloaks, bind weary packs. A sister brings simple fare, bread, broth, warm ale. A soft blessing for the road ahead. Soon they will step beyond the walls, into the unseen road beneath the lingering fog. But for this moment, they are held in quiet refuge, and as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath the pale light of dawn. Footsteps move slow through waking corridors. Lanterns burn low against the chill stone, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Morning deepens across the monastery. Outside, the fog remains heavy and unmoved. Its folds drift between bare branches. Stone walls vanish into the gray. No sun stirs the air. Only the slow toll of the great bell marks the passage of time. Another hour drawn forward beneath ancient stone. For the monks, the chapel fills once more with the quiet flow of robes. Their voices rise beneath the vaulted ceiling. Chant shaped slow and steady. Breath marked by rhythm, not haste. For them, the outside world is held at distance. Only the rule remains, the voice beneath each hour. For scribes, the scriptorium hums with patient motion, quills drawn across parchment, ink stirred with careful hand. The work moves beneath the flicker of candlelight. Outside, the fog presses against narrow windows. But here the page holds clear, each letter placed with practiced care, each line a slow defiance of passing time. For peasants, in the yard, the lay brothers labor through the thick air, wood split and stacked, stone paths cleared of frost. Breath clouds the cold morning. Hands roughened by long toil, the tasks remain unchanged. Each hour shaped by effort, each motion an offering bound to discipline. For women, in the infirmary, the sisters tend to the waking day. A frail monk stirs beneath coarse blankets. A sister soothes him with calm presence. Another brews herbs near the low glow of the hearth. The scent of sage and lavender weaves through the air. Here time moves with care, not bells, each act measured by compassion. For merchants, at the gate new goods arrive beneath the lingering fog, a cart drawn by weary hands, bundles of flax, barrels of salted fish, coarse wool packed tight. The lay brother inspects each item with steady gaze, ledger marked in deliberate script. No coin exchanged, only quiet barter shaped by need and season. Another thread in the monastery's long weave. For soldiers, upon the tower the brother keeps his steady watch, eyes drawn across the gray fields below. No sound stirs, no shape breaks the heavy mist, yet vigilance holds firm. The bell rope near at hand, silent, waiting. Here, patience is both burden and vow. For pilgrims, in the guest house, travelers prepare to depart. Cloaks drawn close, boots wrapped in cloth against the frozen path. A sister offers simple fare, bread, broth, warm drink. Words soft in the cold air. Soon they will step beyond these walls, into the unknown road held within the fog. But for now, they are sheltered. One last breath within the monastery's stone embrace. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath the cold weight of morning. Footsteps shift through quiet halls. Candles gutter low against worn stone, and beneath worn velvet the keys sang faintly once more. Late morning unfolds slowly through the monastery. Outside, the fog has begun to thin, though no warmth comes with the pale light. Stone walls emerge faintly from the gray. Trees stand bare and brittle beneath the sky. The road beyond the gate remains hidden. Only the deep toll of the bell moves through the air. Another hour shaped beneath cold stone. For the monks, the chapel holds their steady voices. Chant rises beneath high arches, breath shaped slow against the chill. For them, the day moves through pattern, not chance. Each moment bound to the rule, each word a step upon the path of devotion. For scribes, in the scriptorium the work continues. Quills glide across parchment, ink mixed smooth with practiced hand. Outside, the fog presses faint against narrow windows. Within, the page holds clear, each letter placed with care, each line drawn through patience. The written word here is not hurried. It is preserved, slow, deliberate, enduring. For peasants, in the yard the lay brothers move through quiet labor, wood stacked high beneath worn arches, grain checked beneath careful gaze. Their breath drifts in faint clouds. hands marked by long toil. The tasks are many, the hours shaped by effort. Here discipline moves through repetition, a steady thread across each passing day. For women, in the infirmary the sisters move softly. A frail monk breathes slow beneath thin blankets. A sister tends him with calm hand. Another prepares fresh herbs near the low fire. The scent of sage and smoke fills the air. Time here is not counted in bells. It moves with the pace of care. For merchants, at the gate trade moves beneath pale light. A cart drawn slow through thinning fog. Bundles of linen, sacks of grain, barrels of oil. The lay brother inspects each with steady eye, ledger marked in practiced script. No rush, no flourish. Trade here moves as the monastery itself moves, slow, deliberate, enduring. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch holds steady, eyes drawn across fields gray and bare. No sound stirs, no shape moves upon the road. Yet the brother waits, the bell rope near, silent, ready. Vigilance here is its own act of faith, an unbroken thread through long hours. For pilgrims, in the guest house new travelers gather, cloaks drawn close, boots wrapped for frozen paths. A sister offers bread, broth, simple warmth, words soft beneath the fading cold. Soon they will step beyond the gate, the road uncertain, the fog still near. But for now they remain within stone embrace, a brief refuge from the unseen world. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes beneath its cold morning. Footsteps shift through shadowed halls, candles flicker low against the pale light, and through forgotten corridors, soft footsteps echoed. Midday deepens beneath the cold stone of the monastery. Outside, the fog has lifted only slightly. Gray light filters through bare branches. The road beyond the gate remains hushed, empty beneath a pale sky. Within, the ancient rhythm holds. Another slow toll of the bell calls the hour forward. For the monks, the chapel gathers them once more. Robes shift soft against worn stone. Their voices rise in chant, measured, patient. Breath moves faint in the cold air. Each word holds steady through time. Each note a quiet anchor beneath the shifting day. For scribes, in the scriptorium, quills move slow across parchment. Ink stirred smooth in small clay pots. Outside, the world fades behind narrow windows. Within, the page remains clear, each letter shaped with careful hand, each line drawn through patient breath. For the scribes, this is a task without haste, a craft held through long hours. For peasants, in the yard, labor moves beneath cold light. Wood carried beneath stone eaves, grain measured and stored. Their breath clouds the air with each steady motion, hands roughened by long toil. Tasks follow one upon the next, a rhythm shaped by effort, by the slow unfolding of the day. For women, in the infirmary care moves in quiet flow. A frail monk rests beneath coarse blankets. A sister tends him with steady hand. Another prepares herbs over a low fire, the air rich with smoke and sage. Here time is held within presence, each breath measured not by bells but by the shape of care. For merchants, at the gate the last of the morning trade passes. A cart drawn slow beneath thinning fog, sacks of salt, bundles of flax, barrels of honey. The lay brother marks the ledger with practiced script, goods weighed and tallied without rush, no coin exchanged, only quiet need moving beneath the long thread of the season. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch holds, eyes steady upon the pale fields below. No sound stirs, no figure moves upon the road. Yet the brother waits, the bell rope close, silent, ready. Vigilance here is a vow, an unbroken line through shifting hours. For pilgrims, in the guest house some travelers prepare to depart. cloaks drawn tight, packs bound close. A sister offers bread, broth, soft words for the road ahead. Soon they will step beyond the gate, into the gray world held beneath pale sky. But for this breath they remain, sheltered within the stone embrace. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes slow beneath the deep cold of midday. Footsteps move soft through shadowed halls. Candles flicker low beneath worn stone, and beneath the nave a forgotten light flickered alone. Afternoon fades slowly beneath the weight of stone. Outside the fog begins to drift, not lifting but shifting. Light falls thin through bare branches. The road remains still, the gate closed beneath cold gray sky. Within, the monastery holds its breath. Another bell tolls, long and low, folding 1 hour into the next. For the monks, the chapel draws them once more. Robes whisper soft along the worn floor. Their voices rise in chant, low, deliberate, breath held long in the cold air. For them, this is no end, only the next step through the cycle of devotion. Time here turns upon itself, unbroken, unhurried. For scribes, in the scriptorium, quills move beneath flickering light, ink stirred smooth, parchment laid beneath steady hands. Outside, the fog presses faint against narrow windows. Within, the page remains clear, each letter placed with patience, each line a quiet defiance of passing time. For the scribes, there is no conclusion, only the next page, the next breath of the written word. For peasants, in the yard, labor moves through late hours, wood stacked beneath stone arches, tools cleaned and set aside, breath clouds the cold air, hands marked by long toil, tasks completed, yet the rhythm holds. Tomorrow will draw them forward once more, as it always has. For women, in the infirmary, care moves in slow current. A frail monk breathes faint beneath rough cloth. A sister tends him with steady presence. Another prepares herbs over the low hearth, the air rich with the scent of sage and smoke. Here time is shaped by presence, not bells, each breath a thread held in patient hands. For merchants, at the gate trade settles into stillness, the ledger closed for now, goods tallied in practiced script, no coin exchanged, no rush. Another day beneath the rhythm of stone and season. The record waits, a quiet thread through the long winter. For soldiers, upon the tower the watch holds fast, eyes drawn across pale fields. No sound stirs, no figure moves upon the road. Yet the brother waits. The bell rope near, silent, ready. Vigilance here is breath itself, a vow unbroken by hour or season. For pilgrims, in the guest house the hearth burns low. Travelers gather near its fading warmth. Some prepare to step beyond the gate. Others remain beneath the stone embrace. A sister offers bread, broth, a soft blessing. Words shaped by the long rhythm of care. The road ahead holds its own shape, its own weight. But for this breath they remain, sheltered within the monastery's quiet heart. And as the bell tolls once more, the monastery breathes deep beneath the folding day. Footsteps drift through dim corridors, lanterns flicker low in the hollow dark, and through the unseen cracks, salt whispered faintly still.